could have been born at any time in history, and the Most High Yahuwah chose for us to be here and now, a time when knowledge has increased and many go to and fro. We find ourselves in the time of the end, according to the book of Daniel, and as we have seen, comes with both blessings and spiritual trials like no other. The book of Revelation, the field manual to the end times, tells us what to expect and how to prepare, but was obscured from the generations with parables and hidden understandings just waiting for these last days to be unsealed. While we may also not get everything right, we will be leaning on the spirit of truth of the Most High Yahuwah Sebaoth in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach to reveal to us the proper understanding. For who knows if you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. And Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube live stream Revelation line-by-line study. Tonight we're talking about the second beast of Revelation covered in the chapter 13 of the book of Revelation, verses 11 through 18. This is part 18 of our line-by-line study. So hopefully you joined us last week, and we discussed the first beast of Revelation, which is also the fourth beast of Daniel. I know that can get kind of confusing. It's the first beast, but it's the fourth beast. But in any case, hopefully you joined us last week. And last week, if you were with us, I think by the scriptures and world history, we were able to pinpoint that the first beast is hands down the papacy, the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican, whatever you want to call it. But that system, hands down, is the first beast of Revelation. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the second beast of Revelation that rises up out of the earth. So with that, like always, we've got a lot to discuss. So let's get right into it. Before we do, let's just bow our hearts a little bit to Yahuwah and pray that He open all of our hearts and eyes and ears to be able to understand and to grow by His scriptures. So let's go ahead and do that now. Heavenly Father, Yahuwah Most High, we just come before you in your Son's name, Yeshua HaMashiach, and we just thank you so much for salvation, first and foremost, through Him and being reconciled back to you. And we just thank you also truly for opening our eyes and ears to the goodness of your word, the goodness of your Torah, and obedience to your ways. We pray that you open our eyes and ears, Abba, that we can just see the truth tonight, and we're just truly just waiting for you, and we're wanting to occupy and to be ready for the return of Messiah Yahushua. And also we want to pray for our brothers and sisters that are in the path of this storm that is coming on the Florida coast. We just pray that you protect us all. We love you, and Amen. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's get right into it. What I want to do really quickly is I want to do a quick overview of last week, literally maybe just a couple minutes, just to get you up to speed, just in case you didn't watch last week's. Let me switch over this screen share. Oops. Looks like I knocked into my book. Okay. So let's go through it. Give me just a moment. Let me get everything set up. And we should be good to go. Shabbat Shalom, by the way, for those of you that do reverence the Father's Sabbath day. This is the day for a lot of us that we look forward to each week. The scriptures do say to work 6 days and you rest on the seventh. And praise Yah that we are upon that day. And hope you get to rest well. And hope this is a good start to it. So let's get right into it. So Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand. We're just going to read through it and kind of just make some quick commentary of, again, just bring us back up to speed from reviewing from last week. And we're going to build upon that real quickly. So, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And immediately we were directed to Daniel 7 last week, and we discussed the 4 beasts that was shown to Daniel clearly, and also the statue that had the head of gold, the chest and arms of silver, the waist and thighs of brass, and the legs of iron and the feet of iron mixed with miry clay. Babylon, first beast, Babylon, ancient Babylon, that is, first beast. The Medo-Persian Empire, the second beast. The third beast, the Grecian or Greek Empire, and the fourth beast, again, is unequivocally first was the pagan Roman kingdom, and then morphed into the second portion of that kingdom, which was the papal kingdom, which has been probably, those two combined have been the fiercest entity on this earth, and still remains so today, but kind of in a different way behind closed doors. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon, which is identified clearly as Satan, gave him his power and his seat and his great authority. So the interesting thing about this end times beast is it's going to be a conglomerate of all the kingdoms before it. So kind of giving us an indication that this is going to be a world power, bringing all the nations together into one fold, if you will. So while Yahusha gathers his fold, the enemy is certainly gathering his fold as well. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And we did discuss how in 1798, when Napoleon took captivity of the papacy, dethroned him, put him in jail, and thus the papacy was ended. At least their power was ended, and was not given back until 1929, the Lateran Treaty, which gave the papacy its own city. Essentially, Rome is its own city and its own kingdom. The Pope being the king, the emperor, whatever you want to call it, the head of that nation. So he does have a nation again, and he does have power again. We talked a little bit about that last week, about how the plans for everything, as you can, over the last 120 years or so, has been part of this system. Zionism, the Freemasonry controlling the world wars, World War I, communism, all these things. We even discussed briefly how the papacy or the Vatican actually created Muhammad. They rose Muhammad to power and actually even created the Muslim religion. And we see a lot of comparisons, of course, with the Catholic, the garbs for the women, and also on both, and also for in the Islamic faith. But in any case, nevertheless, the beast, the first beast of Revelation, again, the fourth beast, received its his wound was healed, in 1929. And again, he is back in power and has been doing quite a bit behind the scenes. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And we discussed this a little bit, and this is going to play a lot more into tonight as well, because as we're going to see, the second beast that's going to rise up essentially makes the world go back after this first beast. in a forceful way. But, when it talks about worshiping the beast, it's not necessarily people just bowing down, to this entity and like, oh, we love you, we worship you. But worship is what? How does the Father want us to worship? By keeping his commandments. That's worshiping him, right? And it's not just lip service, but we're worshiping him by keeping his commandments, keeping his Torah, keeping his Shabbat, keeping his feast days. This is how we worship him. So on the flip side, worship is given to this beast by worshiping their ways. Sunday, which was the papacy's creation. Christmas, which came out of Mithraism and Saturnalia and all these pagan things that, guess what? When people keep Christmas, they are inadvertently or purposefully worshiping the beast. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And we talked about this last week about these great things that they were speaking. Like the popes over the years have just had the most blasphemous statements about how they're like, basically Yah's replacement on earth, that they are essentially gods, that, salvation goes through them and then through Christ. I mean, all these just great things, like great, like boastful things, not like, oh, this is great. No, but like great, like, boastful things. Revelation 13:6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahuwah, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And that's kind of just, continuing on that kind of blasphemy. And it was given unto him to make war with the Kodeshim, that's the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds. And truly the pagan Roman kingdom and the papal Roman kingdom both had control over all kindreds and tongues and nations. It happened, and it's coming again. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Again, they were either going to submit to the papal rule and authority, or they were killed. I mean, look at the Inquisition. Look at all the things they did over the years. Whose names are not written in the CEPHER of the life of the CEPHER of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the belief of the Kodeshim, those that are set apart, the set apart ones, the saints. So let's get on to Revelation 13:1. And this is, again, the second beast of Revelation. This isn't the second beast of Daniel, but the second beast of Revelation. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. So a couple things that, really came to mind when reading this is, as we saw earlier, these beasts, or this beast, right? I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. And when we went back into Daniel, all 4 beasts, they rose up out of the sea. Well, it's, every word means something. And there's a reason that this beast rises up out of the earth as opposed to the sea. If we look at, we'll look at Revelation 17:5 and or 17:15 in a second, but essentially states that the waters are nations, multitudes, kindred. So a massive amount of people, like a conglomerate of people, heavily, densely populated area, if you will. So this beast coming up out of the earth, it must mean something maybe opposite, or at least something different. So something to think about is, I'm going to actually pull it up now. So Revelation 17:15 says, again, "And saith unto me, the waters which you saw." Now, in fairness, I'm just going to be fair and open and transparent with you. The word waters here is a different Greek word than the word sea. When it says, saw a beast rise up out of the sea, this is a different Greek word. So this may not be the right direction, but I do still kind of feel led that those beasts rising up out of seas, because that is what happened. These world powers rose up out of heavily densely populated areas. So I still think this is a pretty good possibility, even though the word sea was used in one section, and then the word waters was used in a different section. So just wanted to be transparent with you on that, on this interpretation that I feel led to go with. So the waters which you saw, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So, of course, we read this already. And okay, so we don't really need that. There was a country that, remember I told you earlier that the papacy received its mortal head wound. It literally ruled the earth from like 476 AD or 483 AD. I can't remember the exact date, but from like 400 something AD all the way to 1798, they ruled the world. And there was and so again in 1798 they received their wound. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Here's just a little. So, this one says 538, so I'm off. Anyways, so 1798, it received its wound. Around the same time, a country rose up out of a not so densely populated area. Now, I know, some of my really good friends are into this mud flood stuff, and I'm just starting to learn about it. And so I know there's a lot of lies and there's a lot of things hidden. Maybe there's a lot of lies about America. Maybe it was populated, heavily densely populated before. But, as far as we understand that we can, at least history tells. And I got to think if Yahuwah is going to allow us to understand who's who and what's what in these last days, some of the basic history's got to be right. About the Roman Empire, some of these things about the new world of America not being so densely populated when it started out. So, nevertheless, in 1776, is when the United States got its freedom. That's basically when it started rising to power. When it started becoming a not a world power yet, but it certainly was on its way when it gained its freedom, its independence. It was actually recognized as as its own sovereign country. Actually, right around the late 1700s is actually when France itself had recognized America as its own country. So, is it coincidental that when the first beast of Revelation receives its head wound, the second beast would start rising up? I don't think there's any coincidence to that. And something really to take into consideration here. We'd like to think that this country was founded on, Protestantism, which, the majority of the people that fled truly were. But the people at the head of it, we always have to look at the head of things. So, like I've said this before, like Freemasonry, for example, we know. Any of you that's done any of your homework knows that Freemasonry has some really, really dark roots, and it's really at the top. There's some terrible corruption, but that's not to say that the 80 to 90% of the people that are part of that organization, they probably have no idea what they're part of. They probably think they just see surface level stuff. They don't see what the inner workings are really like. So very much the same. I look at how America was founded. A lot of the founding fathers were actually Freemasons. They were deists. They didn't believe in the same God of the Bible, although on the outside they portrayed themselves as such. And we're not going to get into that tonight. I mean, that could be a 2-hour discussion in of itself about the founding fathers. That they, like George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, all those guys. Anyways, so those guys at the top, the people that actually came to this country and populated, they probably were great people. A lot of these people are these are our ancestors, for a lot of us that came in and populated this country. But again, you got to look at who's running things at the top, and with something to consider, like. I mean, look at this, Roman. Let's take a look at Roman architecture for a second. It's very easily recognizable, and isn't it interesting that Rome 2.0, right, has all the same architecture. It's no coincidence. This is done on purpose, and I think that I think this was done on purpose because really, I mean, they're showing their hand here. I mean, look at. Even the White House. This right here is 100% Roman architecture. I mean, this is the most iconic building in the entire country, as far as representing the country. I'd say this one and the Capitol building. And those two buildings are 100% Roman architecture. 100%. Let me close some of these tabs. All right, so a couple other things I want to talk about. So, Freemasonry. So we were talking about the first beast in the papacy. I mean, look at these handshakes. So some of you that have never looked into this kind of stuff, you're probably like, oh wow, what Adam? He's shaking somebody's hand. No, there's a very specific way that they shake hands, and you'll see it's here. Look, they all do it. They all do it right there. This kind of shows right here that he's got authority over them. These hand symbols, this world is certainly run by hand symbols. Well, not run by hand symbols, but it's like, here, I'll show you. Where is it? Yeah, right here. This is done on purpose, brothers and sisters. Don't let anybody fool you. These kind of things are done on purpose because, maybe Yah deems it this way, that they've got to kind of reveal themselves, that they have to put their calling card out there per se. But anyways, so this country was certainly founded on Freemasonry. What's Freemasonry part of? Well, it's the Illuminati. This is probably basic stuff that a lot of you already researched. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I'm just kind of covering a lot of different basic things that you either need to go research if you don't know about these kind of things, or again, just kind of a recap of a lot of things that a lot of us have learned over the last year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long, Yahuwah has woken us up. But, you've got Satan at the top, and I really believe that this has the world monarch. This chart is probably leaning towards like the royal family. But no, I really believe that the beast is literally right underneath Satan as far as authority, power. Because we saw here that, where is it right here? The dragon gave him his power, his seat and great authority, which, again, the papacy has held, and all this stuff is all underneath. You've got the corporations, the Bilderbergs, the think tanks, the trilateral commissions, all this stuff, governments, everything is underneath Satan, the Vatican, and then everything else. And then here's you. But the good news is this world is not our permanent home. We are awaiting the true kingdom. The kingdom of Messiah Yahusha, and boy, are we waiting, not anxiously. Someone corrected me rightly so not too long ago. We're not anxiously awaiting, but we're heavily anticipating it. I don't know. Maybe that's not even a better way to say it, but truly, this just like Abraham, was looking for a building made without hands. He was looking for New Jerusalem. So are we, and we're just sojourners on this world. So it says right here, so now again, we're talking about the second beast. I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I read a lot of different commentary about this over that men have written over the years. I looked at different websites, different interpretations about these 2 horns. I didn't find anything that really resonated with me, so I don't really want to repeat any of those things that I didn't feel were true. So I don't know exactly what the 2 horns of America represented. Well, I'll just say, some people said it's the 2 branches of legislation. It's there's a lot of wild theories out there, and I don't think it was revealed to me exactly what the 2 horns of this beast is, but it's definitely appears like a lamb and speaks as a dragon. And truly, the United States has shown itself as, the Christian nation, the Protestant Christian nation that escaped tyranny and wanted freedom and liberties. And truly, on the surface, we do have a lot of freedoms and liberties. Now, I will say this: the caveat to that is true freedom is the Torah. A lot of people. That are still in modern day Christianity, or some of you that are out there that are like, why are you talking about the Torah, the law? All that kind of stuff. That stuff was done away with, right? We're not under the law. The law is the weak and beggarly elements of the world, right? You foolish Galatians, how quickly you turn back. No. No, that's not it. The law is freedom. James 1:25 said it's the perfect Torah of freedom. So what I'm saying is, while we have freedoms here, true freedom is going to be within the walls of New Jerusalem, where we can fully exercise and walk out Torah with our brethren, and of course the Most High and His Son Yahusha. So, but truly, America appears like a lamb, right? Like innocent. We're just, we want to do good throughout the world. We want to interfere with everybody, with every country, but truly speaking like a dragon. And we can talk a lot about this, but we'll talk a little bit about this in a bit. But he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and I think things are starting to set up. And I think that's where we're seeing this power control over people, masks, and just stepping people towards this martial law, total lockdown, whatever you name it. But he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell thereon to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Now, what this is saying, and from the best that I can understand this, is we all agree the United States is the world power. Plain and simple, hands down, you can't argue with that. And a lot of times I've said that America is like an end times Egypt, and I still think that way. But truly, I do believe that it is the second beast. Now, what this is saying is that America is going to, whether it's through the United Nations or on its own or whatever it is we know that the United States has been in the driver's seat of the world for at least the last what? Oh, I don't know, 100 years, 120 years or so. Since really the end times started forming together, the United States has been in the driver's seat as far as the world stage. I think it helped create, with the Vatican, papacy helped create the United Nations and all these other world systems, essentially to march everybody to a new world order. But essentially, through this second beast, it's going to make the world go back to worshiping the papacy and its systems, which, again, we talked about it last week. Could be a coming Sunday law, could be mandatory attendance at a Catholic church, something. Just it's some sort of form of mandatory observance of the papacy's ways, and that's obviously yet to be revealed. So if the U.S. is the second beast, which the text states it'll force the world, more than likely through the power of the UN, to worship, the Catholics' ways, is it possible? People would be like, there's no way in America that it'd be possible to put forth, Catholic rule or papal rule. Well, I'm here to tell you that I think you're wrong, and I'm going to show you how that could easily happen. Let's take a look at the Supreme Court. Okay, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the nation. Anything major, anything world-changing, entire nation-changing is going through these people. Here are the members: John G. Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Ruth Bader, Stephen G. Breyer, Samuel Alito, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh. Let's take a quick look, and what I'm about to show you has nothing to do about who these people are. I'm not judging them or anything about them, but there's some interesting facts here that we have to understand about what could possibly happen in this country, and to get you and your family ready, because I think some major changes are coming very soon. Let's take a look at John G. Roberts real quick. He is actually the leader of all this. So a couple of things obviously stand out. He was educated in Catholic schools, right? Studied at Harvard College, Harvard Law. These are your top Ivy League schools. If you haven't seen, what like Skull and Bones and all these secret societies, they recruit out of these places. That's where these people are picked up, essentially. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so his wife is an alma mater at the College of the Holy Cross. We'll see that in a second. It's a private Jesuit liberal arts college. Roberts is one of 14 Catholic justices, and this is this is the common denominator you're going to see with almost all these all these. So Clarence Thomas, the next one. Once again, College of the Holy Cross, private Jesuit. If any of you that have done any study on Jesuits, you already know where I'm going with that. If you haven't, you really need to do some research if you want to understand what's at stake here. Yale, here we go again. Same thing. Let's take a look here. Personal life. Thomas was reconciled to the Catholic Church in the mid-1990s. He's a Catholic as well and has some Jesuit connections as well. Ruth Bader, here's one of your 3 Jewish Supreme Court justices. Once again, you're looking at Cornell, Columbia. These are, again, top Ivy League schools. This is where these people get recruited from. And again, she is Jewish. Stephen Breyer, also Jewish. And he was Stanford, Oxford, and Harvard. You guys can take a look at all this for yourself. I want to kind of breeze through. I don't want to spend too much time on this stuff, but you'll get what I'm getting at here in just a second. Sonia Sotomayor, she was also Yale Law. She's at Princeton, Yale Law. Again, that's where all these people get. Recruited from. And let's see, what did I see? She was Catholic as well. Where was it? Okay, I can't remember. But I did confirm that she is also Catholic as well. And you know, as we go through this, it ought to strike you as strange that this Protestant nation has zero Protestant representation on the highest form of law. Samuel Alito, Roman Catholic. He also Princeton and Yale. And Aleni Kagan, Jewish, Oxford, Harvard. Neil Gorsh, Columbia, Oxford. And let's take a look here. Personal life. And he also has ties to Catholicism. It's all here, brothers and sisters. It is all here. Last one, Brett Kavanaugh. Once again, Yale, top Ivy League schools, personal life. Kavanaugh is Catholic and serves as a regular lector, so he's a reader. Anyways, so what do we have here? What am I getting at? We have, out of our 9 Supreme Court justices, 6 are Catholic, 3 are Jewish. I'm here to ask you a question. If something major went down in this country and, you know, they wanted to essentially take control, seize control, and they wanted to pass very aggressive papal doctrines or like, let's say, a Sunday law. I mean, Trump has been talking about it behind the scenes. They've been tap dancing around something like this. One of the underlying stories of the coronavirus lockdown was that, you know, the climate change had lessened and pollution had lessened, and so I really feel like it's a very strong possibility. These blue laws are already in Europe, but I can really see a mandatory Sunday law coming. But, you know, that wouldn't be a big problem. I think it would be like maybe forced work on Saturday. I don't exactly know how that would work. I'm just saying, if the papacy wanted to enforce some major laws, it may not even come through the papacy. It could come through the United Nations, which direct ties to the papacy. I mean, the web is thick and full of connections. But all I'm saying here is, if some major stuff was passed down, it would hands down get passed through that the Supreme Court, which, again, out of 9 of them, 6 are Catholics, 3 are Jewish. I don't think they would have any issues passing some major stuff through there. And speaking of the Supreme Court, let's take a look at its building. Here's your Supreme Court. This is 100% a Roman building. This, America, brothers and sisters, is Rome 2.0, the second beast of the book of Revelation. Let's take a look at our president. And I'm not here again to bash any of these people. It's not my thing to do this, but what I do need to show you is that this country is fully set up for these kind of major shifts. So Trump does identify as a Presbyterian, which is a part of is not Catholic, but he has his own ties here. The pastor at Marble, Norman Vincent Peale, ministered to Trump's family until Peale's death in 1993. Trump has described Peale as a mentor, and he said it many times, as a major mentor of his life. Let's take a look at Norman Vincent Peale really quickly. Here we go. Famous Freemasons. Here's one of his famous quotes. "It's not necessary to be born again. You have your way to God. I have mine. I found eternal peace in a Shinoto shrine. I've been to Shinoto shrines, and God is everywhere. Christ is one of the ways. God is everywhere." This is Trump's. He says it himself. It is his mentor, right? And so, if someone's your mentor, you are going to glean some of his phraseology, some of his beliefs. He is a Shriner, which is one of the higher orders of Freemasonry. So just wanted to kind of just share with you where we're at in time, who we're dealing with, and the power that is at their fingertips to make some drastic changes in this country. So once again, America speaks like a lamb, or appears as a lamb. It tries to portray itself as righteous. And truly, there are righteous people in this country, of course, but what's done behind the scenes, it's unbelievable. I'm thinking about just looking at all the corruptions, like in politics. A lot of this Epstein stuff is starting to come out. The Clintons' names are being thrown back in the mix. For anybody that hasn't done your research on the Bushes. Boy, oh boy, so many connections, even to the satanic religion. Barbara Bush, the mother of, or the wife of George Bush Sr. I don't even know was it George H. Bush, W. Bush? I don't know. The older Bush, his wife, is the daughter of Aleister Crowley, the most well-known Satanist of all time. Just the connections are unbelievable as to what's going on, the scandals behind the scenes, the false movement of global warming and HARP in this country, and chemtrails, let alone what's coming out of Hollywood, that Babylonian institution in and of itself, the music scene. I mean, this is Rome version 2.0. Who else appears as a lamb yet speaks as a dragon? The Pope. Speaking of the Pope and and United Nations connection, here's Pope Francis. Here's tons of articles. He was quoted, "Our duty is to obey the United Nations." This statement even got a lot of people in the Catholic Church in an uproar. But nevertheless, he is the king of their nation. There's nothing they're going to be able to do about it. This is what is we're on the cusp of, brothers and sisters, is this one world order. They're going to create a lot more chaos beforehand. I think we are at the doors with what we see with what's going on with this C virus and the mask, all that stuff. So. Speaking, and earlier we talked about the beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns. We did learn through Daniel that the horns are kings and the heads are the heads are kings and the horns are kingdoms. No, other way around. Sorry, heads are kingdoms and horns are kings. And it is interesting that part of the United Nations plan and program. Is it going to work? Yes. Okay. This is the United Nations Millennium Development Goal Indicators. But long story short, they've basically broken up the world into 10 regions. So I wonder if they do break down this country, which they're going to have to do before they impose any kind of world order. Um, they have divvied up the nations into 10 separate regions. You can call them kingdoms. So it is interesting, just interesting. I just wanted to point that out. I'm not going to go too far with that, but just wanted to make mention of that. Speaking about bringing the world together, the Catholic Muslim Interfaith Council, created by Pope Francis, announces new Chrislam headquarters opening in 2022 that combines a mosque and a church according to a signed covenant that they did. You can look this up for yourself. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but this is happening, brothers and sisters. This Pope is uniting the worlds back together, essentially reversing the Tower of Babel and bringing the 70 nations back together. This is older stuff, but just some of the things that the papacy has talked about before. The Pope calls for a new world order, UN's failure to halt U.S. war on Iraq. This is old stuff, but I mean, this is stuff they've been talking about for a long time. The Pope called last month for the reform of world institutions and deplored any failure to respect international law. This is what they're working for. All this stuff, this whole new world order, putting into the minds of people like this global citizen movement that they do with these concerts, and it's in music, it's in movies, it's in TV shows. This whole "we're all one." I mean, look at some of the backstories of this C virus thing. Is we're all in this together. We're stronger together. Together. When the Most High calls us to come out of her and to be separate, so we don't be partakers of her plagues, and that. That we just don't partake of her plagues or partake of her sins, and also partake of the plagues that are going to be cast on her. So when the world is going in step to unite, we need to be getting out. And I have a feeling, if all this happens and we're still here, because again, I don't know exactly how much of this we're going to be a part of and be here of. I don't believe in the 150-year-old rapture doctrine created by what's his name in the 1800s, Darby. I don't believe in that. Basically, every confessing Christian is just whisked away. Their clothes are left, and everybody's like, oh. I don't think that's how it's going to happen. I do believe the 144,000 and the great multitude will have some sort of escape. But again, how much of this we see, I don't know. But if we're here and we're here to make a stand, well, guess what? We're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Again, whatever it is, you're starting to see them guilting people into giving up their freedoms in the name of protecting your fellow man. Like, the whole mask thing, it's not to protect us, right? It's to protect other people. So now when that's ingrained in people's minds, and when they look at you not wearing your mask, it's like, oh, how dare you? You're better than that. You don't want to protect other people. It's just about you. That's just a mask. Imagine when the real things start coming out, whatever it is and whatever it looks like. That's when the heat is really going to get turned on. And so again, when we're called to be separate, brothers and sisters, I haven't said this enough because I don't really want to sound the alarm. Was it presumptively? Yeah, presumptively. I don't want to sit here and pretend to speak for Yahuwah or like he spoke to me and said I need to say this to you. No. This is just my own thoughts, my own discernment of what I see before me. But, brothers and sisters, if you have any plans or thinking about getting out of the cities, I'm here to tell you that now is the time. And it might I don't even know how much time we have left. But if you don't have any plans in motion to have a plan to essentially get out into the wilderness, at least get out into the country or get out away from the cities, now is the time. Some of you can't, and that's how it's going to be. Do I believe Yahuwah can protect us anywhere? Yeah, I mean, look at Egypt and Goshen, how the children of Israel were literally in the midst of all that chaos, but they were untouched. Can that happen today? Absolutely. But at the same time, if you have the ability to get out, I'm here to tell you it's time to get out. And a lot of people have been coming to this area. I believe there are like different sections of this country that are like, I don't know. Again, this is not from Yahuwah. This is just what I hear from a lot of other people, kind of what we've been led to believe, or just, that still small voice that places like I live in the Ozarks. I live in Southwest Missouri. A lot of people are coming out to this area. A lot of people are flocking out to this area, and other kind of maybe what we feel are going to be protected zones. Maybe that's how it's going to work. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm just sharing with you my feelings and discernment as a brother. But again, point being is, if you were ever thinking about going to a safer area, less densely populated area, speaking of waters and rising up out of the sea and rising up out of there, I'm here to sound the alarm on that. I think it's time. I really, really do. I don't think this world is going to go back to what we knew it, how we knew it before March or February, if you will. Speaking of New World Order, right? Time Magazine, the New World Pope, right? And he's got so much good exposure on him. Everywhere he goes, he's just lauded and just, oh, look at the Pope. I mean, I don't know if any of you saw it when he came to America. It's like the news anchors were like, oh, it's so good to see him, and blah, 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 and here he is, and oh, look at the crowd, and everybody's cheering, and oh, this great man. Just a couple weird things. I just wanted to just kind of share this with the... it's interesting that we're studying Revelation 13, and here we have a couple things about America. 13 original colonies, 13 bars on that shield right here, 13 bars, 13 stripes on the flag, and of course, all that's supposed to be, for the 13 colonies. 13 letters in Anuit Coptis, 13 signers of the Declaration of Independence, 13 letters in E Pluribus Unum, 13 steps on the pyramid, 13 leaves on the olive branch right here, 13 fruits as well, 13 stars above the eagle, which is also in the as above, as below symbol, and of course 13 arrows. So it's just interesting. Again, I'm not using this as proof. It's just interesting. So Revelation 13:13 says, this is still talking about the second beast, and he does great wonders so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So, first of all, I'm here to say that I do believe the second beast acts as the false prophet. Now, some of you are like, what? A lot of us have been led to believe that the beast is one man, a single antichrist, and that the false prophet is one man that's like, hey, the world, this is the real Messiah. Like, I don't think that's how it works. I'm here to say that I believe the beast is a system. It does have a head, which is the Pope, and I think he'll act as the face for that beast system. But also, when it comes to the false prophet, I believe it's also a system or a nation or just an organization of some sort. So I'm drawing that here because it says right here, Revelation 16:13 through 14 says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of El Shaddai. So, the frogs thing here, I think it's just, allegory. Just, like frog is an unclean animal. So it's just, I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs, which are unclean, come out of the mouth of the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and the false prophet. Because, again, going back to here, if this second beast makes the earth worship the first beast, wouldn't that second beast be acting as the false prophet? Makes sense to me. But, again, that's up to you to decide. Now, talking about this false prophet making fire come down from heaven. So again, I don't think we're talking about one guy being like, here, fire coming down from heaven. Is this literally talking? There's so much allegory, there's so much similitude in Revelation, or types and shadows and patterns. And I mean, go figure. This is the most cryptic book. Cryptic, I mean by like hidden. It needs discernment. You have to use scriptures to interpret scriptures. You have to use the past to see the present. There's so much of that here. So do I think it's a man calling down fire from heaven? No. As my brother, one of my brothers, Joe, he's been in my ear for years saying that this fire coming down from heaven is like rocket ships. I don't think it's any of that stuff. Even if let's just go with it for a second. Let's just say it's a man and he calls down fire from heaven. Is that going to fool everybody? It'd probably fool a lot of people. But, then you have all the conspiracy theorists be like, oh, that's just, satellite weapons, or if satellites even, I don't even know how that works, They probably have some things in low Earth orbit. Maybe they have some weaponry that could, we saw those fires in California that were just unnatural. A lot of people believe that they were direct energy weapons, whatever it was. But I just don't think that that's what we're talking about here. It could be a repeat of, like Elijah, calling fire down and consuming a sacrifice. It could be something like that. But again, going with what here, let me share this. Acts 2, 1-4. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. I would love if we could all do that in today's world. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like of fire, and it sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. So anyways, the key being here is, this thing came down from heaven. These tongues like fire came down from heaven. So what if this is more like a false spiritual movement, a strange fire, if you will, a strange religious fire? What if this country, what if it's like a false revival? Going back to the Sunday thing, because, we're going to talk more about the mark of the beast here in a little bit, the Mark of Yahuwah, which we know the Mark of Yahuwah is keeping his commandments. The Sabbath being like the seal, right? The Sabbath is known as his mark. It's his sign. It's his seal. I believe the Sabbath is like the seal of his commandments. And go figure, even most of Christianity keeps the 10 Commandments except for the seal, the fourth one, the Sabbath. If a Sunday law was mandatory, and I don't even know how it would look, but let's say it was forced labor of some sort, or forced something on Saturday that would not allow us to keep the Shabbat, which is what happened in the ancient times, in the time of the papacy. Anybody that was caught observing the Shabbat on Saturday were ruthlessly rooted out, murdered, killed, burned at the stake, whatever. So we could see a repeat of that. And the same thing happened, in the Antichrist, type and shadow pattern with Nero, and actually Antiochus Epiphanes in the times of the Maccabees. Anything that made the Israelites stick out to keep the Torah, like they would literally make the entire community eat pork. Like they'd sit there and watch them and make sure they ate pork. If they didn't eat pork, there's a story in the book of Maccabees where a mother saw all 7 of her sons dismembered and put into a boiling pot of oil and literally cooked alive because they wouldn't eat pork. Same thing we saw with the Sabbath, and circumcision. If they were found with circumcision, they'd be killed. I mean, so all these things, essentially, they stuck out like a sore thumb by keeping the ways of the Most High. So again, while the world will come together and say, hey, we need to do this together, global warming, we need to have this, mandatory day of rest, however it looks, wouldn't, even for Protestants, let's say it was mandatory church attendance, something. I don't even possibly know what it would look like. I'm just putting it out there that wouldn't that even be looked at as a revival, like even if it was a forced revival, like people I think would be amazed at that. But even what's happening in this country now, there's a religious awakening. A lot of people are turning to Christ, but they're turning to him in a false convert kind of way. Even Yahusha rebuked the Pharisees, saying to them, I'm loosely quoting, but he says, "You compass sea and land, to make one proselyte, one convert, and when you do, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves." Why? Because even though they brought him into the faith, they brought him into this false form of worship because they were keeping commandments of men. They weren't keeping the commandments of Yahuwah. They're keeping the commandments of men. So even, are there a lot of false converts today? As sad as that is, as horrible as that would seem, yeah, I do. There's a lot of conversion in this country, but there is a strange fight. If you haven't looked into the Kundalini spirit, I mean, this whole movement with like the Benny Hinn stuff and these divine healing movements like Todd Smith and John G. Lake stuff. This is all a false spirit. We could spend a long time on that. There's a video I'll put in the comment section called "Strange Fire." You take a look at it. Because there is a false spiritual movement in this country, and it's this mega church stuff. And some of you that are still in Christianity and haven't converted to being a true disciple of Messiah Yahusha by keeping his commandments. This is not a boastful statement. This is just what we're supposed to do. This is what the scripture says. Messiah says, "As he who keeps the commandments is he that loves me, and will be loved of me and loved of my Father." He talks about bearing fruit. Bearing fruit has always, Psalm 1, it's always been about the keeping of his Torah. Read Psalm 1 through 3 when you get a moment. But there is a false fire, I think, and I think it will intensify in the days ahead. But Revelation 11, 3 through 5, speaking about, calling fire down, it's Revelation 11, 3 through 5, "And I'll give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the Elohim of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed." So we talked about this weeks ago when we were in Revelation 11, and it could be a literal fire. Like Elijah, he called down fire to the 50 men that came to seek him. He did it. He did that twice. It could be something like that. It could be literally like fire-breathing, witnesses, or it could just be, the fire of the Torah, the word, the true word. So speaking about this fire could be just false doctrine, false spirits, false movements, false. So, okay. "And he deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had to do in the power which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live." So what is the image of the beast? Let me ask you this. What's the image of Yahuwah? Or who is the image of Yahuwah? I believe it's his son Yahusha. I think Adam was made in the image, but certainly he fell by not keeping his ways. Who kept his ways perfectly? Who is the living word? Who is before all creation? It's Messiah Yahusha. So Messiah is Yahweh's image. Well, what is the image of the beast? Again, this ecclesiastical power, religious power. What's their image? I got a lot of people upset by this video a while back. Where is it? It's called Antichrist Revealed Documentary. I'll hopefully somebody can link it. I'll just show you what it looks like. It's right here. right here, Antichrist Revealed documentary. So I made a lot of people upset by this because it was pretty shocking. And basically what I did is I drew a line in the sand between the image of Yahuwah and the image of the beast. And I essentially believe that the false version of our Messiah known to the world as Jesus Christ, the one that, just preached peace. He didn't come to bring division, like he said, like a sword, right? That he did away with the laws, he did away with the commandments, he took the burden of the law away from the people, and basically just come and undid everything. That Jesus on the cross, which is a pagan symbol, I essentially believe that is the image of the beast, and almost the whole believing Christian world goes after that image, and that false version of our true Messiah. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Jesus Christ is a lie, I'm saying Yahushua HaMashiach, the true Messiah of our Father, truly came down, taught the truth of the Torah, observance of it, and that's what's been really interesting about reading the early church father work, which we're going to talk about a little bit later at the end of kind of the direction Yahuwah's leading me right now. But they truly, these early apostles were teaching the Torah, just like their master taught Torah, just like we're doing now that he's waking us up to. Hallelujah, praise Yah for that. But, essentially, I just drew a line in the sand between that. And so making this image to the beast, right, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Again, this beast had a wound by a sword and did live. So let's talk about the making an image and some of the shadows and types here. So let's take a look at the precursor, which was in Daniel 3. Daniel 3, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set up in the plain of Dura, the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent to gather together the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces, right? All men, great and small, right? Free and bond, to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. Then the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of that image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages," right? All people, "that at the time that ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, the languages, fell down and worshipped that golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up." So anyways, awesome story. As we know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the 3 Israelites, did not bow down. They're thrown into the fire. So Nebuchadnezzar sees the 3 plus the extra 1. He's like, why do I see 4 people, and why aren't they being burned? And why does this 4th one look like the Son of God? They were saved. Praise Yahuwah. So if that time comes for us, I pray that we all think of this story and know that there could be deliverance. But even these 3, they said, "Hey, we serve an Elohim in heaven that can deliver us from you, O king. But even if he doesn't, know that we will not bow down to your image." So think about this. What if a Antichrist figure comes on the scene? What if he comes as Jesus? What if he comes as Jesus? We read a book recently called the what's it called? Not the Visions of Isaiah. Oh man, was it the Ascension of Isaiah? Okay. Anyways, it clearly states that essentially Hasatan, maybe when he's thrown out of heaven, comes down and he appears to the people as he says that I am Elohim and there is none before me. He basically comes, and it says that he speaks as the beloved. So essentially, he is coming to appear as the Messiah, right? But the thing is, I think it's going to fool a lot of mainstream Christianity, because I think he's going to come preaching love and, the law done away with, and, all that stuff. You fools, I came, or he's probably not going to say that, right? Because he said not to do that. But he's going to probably come and saying, keeping the law. No. The law is love, right? He's probably going to, what if he came down, and what if he was seated in authority with the Vatican, and that's, again, if things like that happen, that's when you can see some major shifts in the world. What if the whole world goes after him? What if he unites everybody? I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's going to be an image. The beast is going to have his image, and it's going to be alive. It's going to speak, right? And the world is going to be forced to worship this image, which I believe will be the false image of our Messiah, the false version, if you will. And I think he's going to preach a worldly gospel that people are going to love and fall down to, and just, he's probably going to denounce religion. He's probably going to denounce a lot of the false religions. I think Satan set up false religions so that it can easily be broken down by someone that comes with a little bit of knowledge, and poke holes through it really easily, and he'll come speaking great things, and people are going to love it. They're going to worship him and bow down to it. But people that know their Yah, and people that know the truth of the Torah, are, number one, going to stick out like sore thumbs, and number two, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when everybody in that crowd bowed down, and you've got, thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people on their knees, and you've got 3 people standing up, do they not stick out like a sore thumb? I believe that however this works out, if we're still here, however this works out, Yah's people that keeps his commandments, that has the patience and the faith and keeps the commandments of Yah, will stick out like a sore thumb. But it is also interesting, right, that music brings the people, is the precursor for the people bowing down. And isn't it interesting that you've got this whole Justin and I talked about this months ago, but this whole Kanye West movement called the Sunday service, right? And quite frankly, this is what I was talking about, a lot of converts. There was a lot of people converting to Christianity, if you want to call it, or belief in Jesus. But again, at the end of the day, what did Messiah say? He called the Pharisees hypocrites because they honored him, they honored Yah with their lips, but their heart was far from them. Why? He said, because in vain they do worship him, keeping the commandments of men. Brothers and sisters, if you're not doing the Shabbat, if you're not keeping the commandments, if you're not doing the Torah, the parts that we can keep, right? Because Yahusha came and did away with the sacrifices. But if we're not doing the the feast days, if we're not keeping Yah's ways, we're not worshiping him. We're worshiping him in the way that the world teaches. It's just like the Israelites that came out of Egypt when Moshe was on the Mount Sinai for 40 days. They're like, where is he? The recent book we read, The Ascents of James, said on the 30th day, right? Anyways, but they made that calf, right? And what did they say? Tomorrow is a feast to Yahuwah. So they were still wanting to worship Yahuwah, but they wanted to worship them in the way that they knew, in the way that they were passed down. They were in Egypt for, however many hundreds of years. The whole 400-year thing, that started actually with Avraham coming out of the Chaldees. But anyways, however many hundreds of years they were actually in Egypt, they learned all that stuff. They learned that idol worship. That calf is called Happis, and it's one of the Egyptian gods, right? So they were just reverting to how they knew to worship Yahuwah. And so, again, this whole Sunday service thing, yeah, they may be converts coming over to believe in Jesus, but it's a false belief. It's a false religion. It's the religion of the beast, right? Even Protestantism is still a daughter of Catholicism. They still, they don't keep his commandments, right? They don't keep his feast days. They keep Easter. They keep Christmas, or not Easter, but Ishtar. They keep Christmas. They keep, now they have, they do Halloween, it's just ridiculous. And so all I'm saying is that, it's interesting that music, and this probably one of the most well-known artists or musicians in our time has come out with this Sunday movement, and I have a feeling that more people are going to follow up and ensue. If you want to learn more about this false movement and this false preacher, I don't know what you want to call it, called the Kanye West documentary. Justin and I, we did this a couple months ago, back in November. You can check it out. Brother Dave, if you can put that in the chat, I'd appreciate it, the link for that. But anyways, so it's interesting that and you listen to some of these lyrics at some of these mega churches, it's just bad doctrine. And as we know, the music penetrates the subconscious, and so even Christian music, there's just so much mainstream Christian music. It's not worshiping Yah. So, okay, let's talk about, let's go on a little further. Let's go Revelation 13. Actually, we're going to read the rest of this, and we're going to kind of break some stuff down. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So again, my personal understanding at this time is that a false Messiah, that's not too far off from what most of us have understood at this point anyways, but I don't think we really kind of knew that he would come as Jesus Christ, just from what I understand again. And again, making a huge line in the sand between Jesus Christ and Messiah Yahusha, the true Messiah. Big line in the sand. And he causes all, not some, all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast. And that's that video I showed you earlier, the Antichrist revealed. We talked a little bit about the name of the beast. I got made fun of quite a bit for that video, but doesn't matter. I believe that, I want you to check it out for yourselves. Or the number of his name, which is that Chi Z stigma ordeal there. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is, it got messed up here. Of course, your KJV renders 666, but truly what was written down was the three Greek letters, Chi, Z, stigma, or Chi, was it Chi or Chi, Z, stigma? So again, that video that I shared with you earlier, this video here, I would highly recommend it if you want to learn a little bit more and kind of where I'm at with all this. So, all right. Okay, so let's talk about a couple things. First of all, when talking about the Mark of the Beast, there's so many wild theories, which, by the way, I don't subscribe to everything that 119 Ministry teaches anymore. We've kind of gone in different paths on some things, but still love them. They're brothers, and I'm very grateful to them, because through them and Rob Skiba really is what helped me come back to Torah. So very thankful for them. But anyways, they had a very short video today on the Mark of the Beast. I thought it was interesting timing. That it came out this morning, and I was just finishing up my studies today, so I was able to view that, and come to find out, we agree essentially on the best way to avoid the Mark of the Beast. But anyways, the Mark of the Beast, there's so many different theories over the years, barcodes on food, microchips in the hand, vaccine. Now there's big talks about the mask or the vaccine. We talked a little bit about this last week. Could it be the mask? Could it be the vaccine? I don't think so, because even right now, I can get all my food ordered and delivered to my house, or I can do order pickup, whatever. There's ways around it. Even if it was vaccines, again, I can still get my food delivered to my doorstep. I don't think that's this buying and selling. And this is what I was very, very thankful to see. John from 119 had the same interpretation that I've been understanding here for the last year or so. Let's talk about a few things. So buying and selling. Number one, Proverbs 23:23 says, "Buy the truth and sell it not." Right, buying and selling. We have to know what the truth is. Also, wisdom and instruction and understanding. Right. So we know, anyone that's ever read the book of Proverbs, you know what wisdom, instruction, and understanding is alluding to. It's alluding to his commandments. It's alluding to his law, as the KJV translates. But I think it'd be better translated as instructions. Torah is better translated as instructions. So buy the truth and sell it not. Psalm 119 states that thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness. And here's that word law again. Thy law, thy Torah is the truth. So what is it saying here? Buy the Torah and sell it not. That's using the scriptures to interpret the scriptures, right? And like every time, Yahusha says, "I tell you the truth. Very verily, I tell you the truth. I tell you the Torah." That's the Torah's nickname, is the truth. Walking in truth, be of the truth, love the truth, buy the truth. We didn't grow up with this. Even me in my childhood, growing up in Judaism, that wasn't the truth, right? In Christianity, the Torah is not the truth, right? The Torah is supposedly overbearing and burdensome and heavy, and it's a yoke, and it's a heavy yoke, and it's fleshly stuff, and it's all about spiritually stuff now. And it was just a schoolmaster until Yahusha came, and all these different totally misunderstood understandings of what the Torah is, because it's one of those things like you don't know how good it is until you try it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to come up with good examples. It's like, when I was a kid, I was deathly afraid. I was just afraid of the pool. I think I don't know if I watched something at a young age and saw someone drown, but I was totally afraid of the pool. And anyway, so it's just like one of those things. I just didn't know how much fun it was to swim until I finally just got over my fear and jumped in and swam. Like, wow, this is actually great. Why was I scared of this all this time? The Torah is the same thing. If there's anybody out there that's like, "What are you talking about, this Torah stuff?" Like, let's just get to the mark of the beast. Tell me, is it a chip? Is it a... Listen, this is this is the light at the end of the tunnel. This is the goal. This is the walk. This is the refreshing, the understanding Yahuwah in His ways is the refreshing that we get. This is the prize, right? Our reward will be, of course, our eternity and ruling and reigning for 1,000 years. But right now, where we're at right now, the Torah is the prize. And if, brothers and sisters, if you have not tried a Sabbath yet, I'm here to tell you that there's just something supernatural about it. That resting one day with our Master and knowing that they keep it in they keep it in heaven. In the book of Jubilees, it says that they keep the feast days and the Shabbat at the same time that we do here now. Of course, that's the whole calendar issue. But aside from that, it's a day set apart to Him. And if you haven't ever done a Shabbat before, where you didn't buy or sell anything, speaking of buying and selling, if you didn't, buy or sell anything on that day, and not labor, but put all that to the side, put all the cares of the world, turn off your social media, turn off the TV shows and the secular media, turn it all off, and spend a day with your family, your friends, and worshiping Yahuwah. Let me tell you something. There is just something supernatural about it. If you haven't done a Passover yet, or over the other feast days, there's something beautiful and supernatural about it that no Christmas can touch, no Halloween could touch, no Easter and Easter eggs could touch. There's just something ancient and wonderful about it. And if you haven't done it, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, it is time to keep His ways and throw off the ways of the world. We do not have much time left. I don't know how much time. No man knows the day or the hour. That's very clear. I don't know. But this is the time to shake off the world and its filthiness, to come out of her and to be separate from this world. This is what Messiah says. Because thou sayest, Revelation 3:17-20, because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. What does he say here? I counsel of you to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that you may be rich, and white raiment, that you may be clothed, and that the shame of your nakedness do not appear, and anoint your eyes with eye salve, that you may see. And this is, for a lot of us, we know this next verse here, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, right? Be zealous. We read in the Torah portion, I think it was actually last week, Phinehas, he was zealous for his Yah, right? He stood up and said, no, this isn't right, and stood up for his Yah. But a lot of us know, a lot of us, again, have been taught the Sunday school version of Messiah, that, you believe in him, and this red carpet, essentially if this red carpet's kind of rolled out. And I'm kind of generalizing it, and I know, I'm just saying, but a lot of this stuff isn't taught. That for some of us, my life got incredibly hard when I turned to him. Now, certainly he was there, he never gave me too much, or there was a time, honestly, where I should have died, and he prevented my death. It was totally supernatural. I'm not going to get into it tonight, but some of you that have been with me for some time, you've probably heard my testimony before. But he rebukes, he chastens us, right? That's part of this walk. It's part of the refinement. A lot of us know that. How many of us have had struggles in our life where we just didn't even know how we were going to get out of it? But when we did, we came out stronger and tougher. Just like gold, when it goes through the fire, it's tried and it comes out pure. That's why he puts us through these tough times. So if you're in a tough time right now, if you're in a season, we go through seasons sometimes. If you're in a season of testing, maybe you just lost a loved one. Maybe someone's really sick. Maybe financial difficulties because what's going on in this world is false, whatever it is, maybe spousal issues. You're going to come out stronger. You just got to trust in him. But I'm getting off on a different tangent. Here he says, I counsel you to buy of me gold tried in the fire. This is the very same book in Revelation. He's talking about buying something. Wouldn't you imagine that we can make some connections? If he says to buy of him gold tried in the fire, wouldn't you imagine, right, that has something to do with this buying or selling? That there might be something more than just a surface level of, hey, you got to take this chip in your hand, or you can't buy your groceries anymore. Listen, it also needs to transcend time and generations. You think the Mark of the Beast is only for people that live in the last 2-3 years of history? You don't think that there was a Mark of the Beast throughout the centuries? You think everybody that lived the last 2,000 years were not in danger of the Mark of the Beast? Of course they were. It comes down to this hand and forehead. What's in your hand? What's in your forehead? And for some of you that know your scriptures, you know what I'm talking about. So, a couple of things. I want to talk about obeying his voice, right? But this thing I commanded them, saying, obey my voice, and I will be your Elohim, and you shall be my people, and walk ye in all the ways that I command you, that it may be well with you. Now therefore, Exodus 19:5-6, now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel. And we're doing that now. Now, going back to hear what it looks like to hear his voice, and to have something marked in your forehead or in your hand. Deuteronomy 6:4-9 says, Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Right? Messiah said this is your first and greatest commandment. He got it from the Torah. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house. If you're a father or mother and you have children, and you're not teaching this to them, well, guess what? It all goes out the window, right? Because the next generation, gone. See ya. And when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise up, and you shall bind them, right, his commandments, his Torah, you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. What's between your eyes? your forehead. So here we have the very opposite of the mark of the beast. And I truly believe we're going to be carrying one mark or the other. With this, I want to, maybe some of you all enjoyed movie night last week. Let's see if maybe we can do a quick short video as well. Did I put it up here? Let me take a look here. Hang on a second. Okay. We're going to watch a quick video that I want to talk a little bit more about this mark of the beast and how we can avoid the mark of the beast. Some of you may have already seen this. Regardless, it's extremely important in... Let me see if I can get it up here. Here we go. I'll see y'all in just a little bit. The mark of the beast. Many have attempted to explain what this is or will be. A microchip, a vaccine, a world currency, a bailout fund with an oath attached to it, or many other definitions. But to be honest, the best way to avoid the mark of the beast is to carry the mark of the Most High. No need for fancy explanations. Wouldn't you think that all the answers to this mystery would be contained within His Word? No need for explaining what this person has done or what that government is doing or planning. While I agree that we shouldn't get chipped, take a vaccine, or swear any oath, especially to receive compensation, let's not get carried away by every wind of doctrine. Let's see what the Word says, for after all, I do not believe our bodies, the temple of the Most High, can carry two different marks. Which will yours carry? The mark of the beast, or the mark of Yahuwah Sabaoth, creator of heaven and earth and everything contained within? Join us as we explore the scriptures and see how we can avoid the mark of the beast in these last days. Let's begin in Deuteronomy 6. And you shall love Yahuwah with all of your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And ye shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. We see the hand and the forehead, just like we see with the mark of the beast. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. It should be plain to see that we can be marked by Yah or by the beast. Let's take a look at a few more passages, for we know that all things must be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. The passage we are about to read is in regard to the Passover and the week of unleavened bread, which happens to be coming up very soon. Let's see what comes with the observance of these most set-apart days. Matzah, unleavened bread, shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall no Chamets be seen with you, neither shall there be leaven seen with you in all your quarters. And you shall show your son in that day, saying, This is done because of that which Yahuwah did unto me when I came forth out of Mitzrayim, Egypt. And it shall be for a sign unto you upon your hand, and for a memorial between your eyes, that Yahuwah's Torah may be in your mouth. For with a strong hand has Yahuwah brought you out of Mitzrayim, Egypt. Once again, we see the hand on the forehead, the same as we saw in Deuteronomy and in Revelation. The command here is to celebrate the Passover, to which we will be doing at sunset on April 8th, and the week-long festival of unleavened bread, which we will be celebrating until the evening of the 15th. It is a time to throw out all yeast and other leavening substances alongside eating no leavened breads. It's a foreshadow of the true bread from heaven coming down, our Savior Yahusha, living a sinless and spotless life, just like the spotless Lamb. And a reminder for us to remove the leaven of man-made teaching from our lives, as well as removing sin through the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, commonly known as the Holy Spirit. Something interesting to note, in Revelation 18:4, we see a call to Yahweh's people that ties into this. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues." Just as the Israelites were protected from the plagues in Egypt thousands of years ago by keeping Yahweh's commands, wouldn't it make sense for the same to apply to us today? Brothers and sisters, it is time to come out of the pagan ways, Sunday worship, Christmas, Easter, and the many others, in favor for Yahweh's ways, the true Saturday Sabbath, His feast days, and many other blessings along His path of righteousness, which carry His protection. Let's look at another witness. Wherefore the children of Yashar'el shall guard the Sabbath and do the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Yashar'el forever. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day He rested and was refreshed. How can we define this sign the Sabbath brings between us and Yahuwah? Let's take a look at the many ways this Hebrew word oath was used. It is a sign or a signal, a distinguishing mark. It's also certainly interesting that the Catholic Church is on record multiple times that they officially changed the day of Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. Let's take a look at this from another perspective. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahuwah said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, that's Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in my hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have you pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. I must ask, do you sigh and weep for all the abominations done in this land, wherever you're living? Do you care that nearly this entire world has gone astray, gone a-whoring after the devil and his ways? What about the nearly 2 billion professing Christians who could care less about the commandments of Yahuwah, keeping for themselves the doctrines of men? If you do, good, you're on the right path. If you can care less, it may be time to rethink some things, as per our scriptural example from Ezekiel 9. Let's take one more look at this mark from the beast.
And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. A few interesting points. What are we not to do on the Sabbath besides no work? Buy or sell? What do the scriptures say we are to buy and sell? Proverbs 23:23 states, "Buy the truth and sell it not, also wisdom and instruction and understanding." Speaking of buying the truth, what is the truth according to the scriptures? Psalm 119:142 states, "Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is the truth." He that dwells in the secret place of El Elyon shall abide under the shadow of El Shaddai. I will say of Yahuwah, He is my refuge and my fortress. My Elohim, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings shall you trust. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day, nor for the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor for the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come nigh you. Only with your eyes shall you behold and see the reward of the wicked, because you have made Yahuwah, which is my refuge, even El Elyon, your habitation. There shall no evil befall you, neither shall any plague come nigh your dwelling, for He shall give His angels charge over you, to guard you in all your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shall you trample under feet, because He has set His love upon me. Therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my Yeshua. It must also be noted that we saw the mark of the beast also carried a name. Instead of focusing on that, I want to turn our attention to the sealed and preserved 144,000 who were taken from tribulation alongside the great multitude, to whom I believe to be the wise virgins that were ready. And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on the Mount Sion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. I believe his name in our foreheads is twofold. First and foremost, by keeping his ways are we honoring his name, and by forsaking his ways, we dishonor his name. Secondly, we know that the world was created and spoken into existence through our Messiah. So words do matter. And Yahusha plainly stated that we would be judged even by every idle word. Our Father and His Son's names have been hidden for centuries, but just like many other truths are being revealed in these last days, so the same is true for their names. Yahuwah, our Father. Yahusha, the Son of Elohim. Yes, I believe their names matter. Then they that feared Yahuwah spoke often one to another, and Yahuwah hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahuwah, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith Yahuwah Sebaoth, in the day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spares his own son that serves him. There's even more to this, but I wanted to keep this short and concise. This information should be sufficient enough to fear Yahuwah alone and to keep his ways, you children of Yah. There very well may be something coming that we must take in order to continue to participate in commerce, that is, buying and selling, and we definitely should not take it. But I truly believe if we focus on his mark, we will have nothing to worry about. For if we walk in his ways with a true and circumcised heart, he will give us a sound mind and guidance from his spirit within us to let us know what to do and when. This is what the entire scriptures have always taught. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahuwah and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For Yahuwah is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgives sins and saves in times of affliction. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goes two ways. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. But to the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars, shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. No fear whatsoever, brothers and sisters, regardless of what the media is selling you today. Fear is to Yahuwah alone. Let the many perish who are now living, rather than the Torah of Elohim, which is set before them, be disregarded. For Elohim strictly commanded those who came into the world when they came what they should do to live, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient, and spoke against him. They devised for themselves vain thoughts, and proposed to themselves wicked frauds. They even declared that the Most High does not exist, and they ignored his ways. They scorned his Torah, and denied his covenants. They have been unfaithful to his statutes, and have not performed his works. Therefore, Ezra, empty things are for the empty, and full things are for the full. Brothers and sisters, choose for yourself life, that you may live, that you may avoid the mark of the beast, and abide in belief in Yahuwah's true Son, Yahusha, and walk as he walked according to the Torah, and avoid the mark of the beast as we are called to. Hallelujah, and all praise, honor, and esteem goes to Yahuwah through his Son, Yahusha. Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Well, brothers and sisters, I hope you liked movie night. I enjoy doing that too because I like to re-go over this information. But I'm going to start doing that because if I already have a well-edited video on a subject that I want to talk about anyways, there's no way I could get all the information that clear in a short amount of time. So at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, I really feel like it's going to come down to two things: who you're going to serve, and as that really strong verse in Ecclesiasticus just showed us, was there ever a generation of old that trusted in Yahuwah and kept his ways and were confounded? I really believe that, as Revelation 14, as we're going to go over not next week but the following week, that if we keep his ways, if we keep his commandments, we have a fear for him, and we're coming out of the world, we're keeping Yahuwah's ways, his feast days, his Torah, his commandments, his Shabbat, the whole package, I believe that we essentially avoid the mark of the beast and we will be protected. I really believe that. I really, really do. There's a lot of people like, oh, we're all going to die. Listen, maybe. But I believe those that are going to be left for the slaughter are going to be those foolish virgins. They're going to be weeping, gnashing their teeth and saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. Didn't we cast out many devils in your name, and in your name have done many wonderful works? And then what does Messiah said? Away from me, I never knew you, you workers of iniquity. And that Greek word is anomia, which means lawlessness, not keeping his law. There's a difference between secular lawlessness, and lawlessness according to the scriptures. And if we're not keeping his ways, we are lawless. And I believe that door will be shut. And you will have to give your life. You will have to give your head or your life or whatever that's going to look like. But I really do. I mean, this is like I said in the video, this is the same story over and over again. The people keep his commandments, they keep his Torah, and they're delivered from everything. That's his seal, as we saw in Psalm 91. His truth, his Torah, will be our shield and our buckler. And I feel very, very, very confident about it. I really do. I absolutely do. So a couple things. So again, if you have some more questions about the image of the beast and possibly the name of the beast, that Antichrist documentary that I shared with you earlier, please check that out for any further study. But I think we'll end with it there. A couple things I want to talk about is something that Yahuwah is really leading me to right now is the reading of the early church, the early ecclesia. The CEPHER actually has a really good book for this. It's called Ha'avot. It's the Fathers. It's a collection of the early assembly writings. I just read one of them for you recently. I'll show you that here in a second. But it's got books like Gospel of James, Gospel of Nicodemus, Gospel of Peter, Epistle of Barnabas, the Visions of Hermas, the Commands of Hermas, the Similitudes of Hermas, First Clement to the Corinthians, a couple more, Polycarp, Ignatius to all the different ecclesias, the Ascents of Yaakov, which is actually the one I just read. And let me tell you something, for a lot of you that have been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that a big part of our ministry is bringing back these books that were sealed, hidden, put away on purpose. Books like Enoch, Jubilees, Jasher, 2 Esdras, like we just read a second ago, 2 Baruch, and so many more. So we realized that there's a lot of books that were left out of the Old Testament. Well, how much more also from the New Testament? From, I have to imagine that there was more to Peter than just 1st and 2nd Peter. Right, or more to James than just James. There's a lot out there. I'm going to be reading books like the Clementine Homilies, the Clementine Recognitions, a lot of the books I just mentioned to you. I'm going to be reading a lot of these books. A lot of people have said, oh, don't read them because it puts Paul in a really bad light or whatever. Listen, I want the truth. I'm here to find the truth, and so I'm going to be studying these books, and if you have any desire, I'm going to show you, hang on, which video I'm talking about. And I also got, if you guys want to stay with me, I have another sample. I have Genesis 1 for the word audio for you all. I want to play for you. So stick around for just a sec. So here I am on the home page. Right here, it's called The Ascents of James, an early church story. 36 minutes, short read, short listen. Check that out when you get some time. I found a lot of interesting things in this book, needless to say. So that's kind of the direction that I'm kind of heading right now. A lot of it's going to be my own personal reading. I think I might just do readings like this as I feel led. Maybe in the future, I might do some line-by-line studies from them. I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. The next thing, I just want to remind you guys, we have a major project launching. It's called The Word, or The Word Audio. There is a channel for that. And again, if you want to go to the homepage of my page, you get the recommended list right here. It's called The Word. And we put Genesis 6 out last week. I haven't uploaded this. I shared it with those of you on Patreon earlier today, and I'm going to share Genesis 1 with you all now, just to kind of give you all an idea of what to expect. Long story short, this is a massive dramatized audio Bible project. that's going to have like 95 plus books, all the books that we're used to now, plus the Dead Sea Scroll stuff, Enoch, Joshua Jubilees, 2 Esdras, all the Apocrypha that was taken out in the 1800s, maybe even the 12 Patriarchs. We'll see how far we can get into, but easily a 5-year project. So we're going to have Genesis out probably within a few weeks, but we had Genesis 6 out as a sample last week, and I'm about to show you Genesis 1 here. So I'm going to give you a moment. If you can, I would put some headphones on so you can get the full experience, or plug in some nice speakers if you're on your TV. Plug in that little sound bar. I call this a vacation for my ears. So here's Genesis 1. I hope you all enjoy, and we'll come back. We'll pray, and then we'll sing together.
The waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so.
Oops. Give me a second. I gotta fix something.
Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And Elohim said, let their waters under the heavens be gathered unto one place. Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Ruach Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. And Elohim said, let there be light. And there was light. And Elohim saw the light that it was good. And Elohim divided the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And Elohim made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And Elohim said, let their waters under the heavens be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for appointed feasts, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth. And Elohim made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the 4th day. And Elohim said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And Elohim created great sea monsters, every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the 5th day. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And Elohim made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps upon the earth after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. And Elohim said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food, and to every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps upon the earth, wherein there is life. I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning of the 6th day.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. So again, you can stay updated for the release of Genesis, which hopefully within weeks. You can go to the YouTube channel, The Word. Again, you can find that by going to my homepage and looking at the recommended channel lists on the right-hand side. You can subscribe to that and be notified, or you can go to www.thewordaudio.com. You can subscribe so you can get email notifications. So one of two ways. So brothers and sisters, I thank you for joining me tonight. I pray that it was of some use to you, maybe either confirming some things you already knew, or maybe give you some new things to consider, take to the Father in prayer. Regardless, I pray that it was a blessing in the Father's eyes, that we were able to gather together tonight and to discuss His Word as it relates to the world that we live in now and what's to come. So, brothers and sisters, remember, no fear, but fear alone goes to the Most High, Yahuwah Sevaot, through His Son, Yahusha, and by keeping His commandments and walking the walk just as Messiah walked. And one last, actually, announcement. Some of you are, I had a brother reach out to me, let me know he was just starting a new business. But any of you that are considering CBD oil, I actually have a really good testimony with CBD oil. I had a really bad sciatica in my, lower back, rear end-ish area, and it was terrible. I mean, I would exercise, stretch, do all the stuff, change my diet, everything. It was so painful. But anyways, taking CBD for, I think, about 2 weeks, gone, and it never came back. Praise be to Yah. But as we just read in Genesis 1, He gives us every herb-bearing seed. It should be for food. That Hebrew word is ukla, and it's not just literally just eating, but it's for use, for man's use. And we know actually in the book of Jubilees that all healing medicines are of the herbs, plants, of the field. But I think people are coming around to realizing that CBD is a good thing. The cannabis plant is it's a gift from Yah. But that's a whole. We don't need to go down that road tonight. But I'm just saying the CBD plant, the oil has been a huge benefit of my life in regards to pain in my body. And so anybody that's considering it, go to Zion's Garden. A brother named Kyle Nielsen. He is one of our brothers. He frequently watches, and he may even be in the chat now. I don't even know, but. Anyways, just wanted to share this with you guys, and if you do purchase anything there, you can use the code POTV, but if you're going to get CBD anyways, might as well get it from a brother, and all this stuff is all, he grows it himself in his farm, everything's organic and whatnot, so at least you know where it comes from another believer. You can help a fellow believer out with his business if you're going to get CBD anyways. So otherwise, brothers and sisters, let's gather together in some prayer. And we'll do the priestly blessing, and we will sing it together with a little bit of Song of Moshe do believe the song that the 144,000 in great multitude will sing. But let's bow our hearts. Heavenly Father, Yahuwah Most High, we just come before you in Yahusha's name. We thank you for this time together, and we just bless you for the ability to even gather together like this. And we pray that you keep this means necessary open, this means open for us until that very last day when you come to grab us. Abba, we talked about the beast tonight and his devices, not to be fearful, but to be aware and to know that you also have a mark that you put on your people. And we pray that we can bear your mark, and that our hearts be, that you just continue to cultivate our hearts and understanding and belief, and to follow you in your ways. And for anyone that was listening tonight that has not kept your ways before, Abba, we pray that that their faith be accompanied by obedience, which is what you've always wanted. We pray that you put it in their heart, even if they fight it, even to this very moment. Abba, I pray that you soften their heart to the truth of your word and the goodness and the sweetness of your Torah. We love you, we bless you, and we are waiting for you. In Yahusha's name, Amen. Amen, brothers and sisters. Amen, amen. Yevarechecha Yahweh verishmerecha. Yaer Yahweh panav elecha vechnuneka. Yesa Yahweh panav elecha veyashem lecha shalom. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Brothers and sisters, hey, Shabbat Shalom to you. I pray that you enjoy it. We're going to do the Song of Moshe. If you want to stick around for a second, I think I might hang out with the chat for like maybe 5 minutes. We'll take a break, and then we have the Torah portion afterwards. So if you're still up and ready to go, we got about another hour's worth of study with together if you'd like. We're going to be doing Torah portion weeks 42 and 43. Going to try to kind of catch up with the rest of the groups out there. So sorry, I've been lagging behind. So we're going to finish up the book of Numbers tonight. We're going to do Numbers chapters 30 through 36, and hope to see you there. Song of Moshe. I'll come back, say hello to the chat for a few minutes, and then I'll see you in the Torah portion. Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters.
I sing to Yahuwah, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Yahuwah is a man of battle, Yahuwah is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and his chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them, they went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose up against you. You sent forth your wrath, it consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The floods stood like a wall, the depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil, my being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword, my hand destroys.